Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Caregiver and Spoonie podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Banderas. And before we get started, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And let's go ahead and get into today's episode, shall we? Now, on today's episode, I wanted to talk about this because this is very important, especially if you're going through something. And what I wanted to talk about is about take the opinions of others with a grain of salt. I was talking about this with somebody else, and I was like, you know what? This is gonna be a good podcast episode. And here's the reason why it's so important to talk about this. Because here's the thing, right now, with everything that's going on, like current events, if it's not one thing, it's another. And you're a spoonie, you're a caregiver, you're going through something. People are gonna criticize you. People are gonna talk about you. People are gonna say things about you. They're gonna give you their opinion, and they're gonna sometimes they don't mean it, but that opinion might make you feel bad about yourself because of everything that you're doing. Like you might be trying your hardest, but then there's always somebody that's gonna tell you like, oh, you could try better, or you should do this and you should do that. But it's like, dude, you don't know what I'm doing. So here's the thing though, when somebody is giving you their opinion, it's their opinion based on their experience, not on your experience. That's one of the things that you have to understand. Is like when somebody gives you their opinion, it's not about you, it's how they see the circumstance or whatever's happening in your life from their own eyes. So they're like, oh, if it was pretty much the way that I see it, because since I'm a caregiver and a spoonie, a lot of people give me their opinion, especially when it comes to my wife and how I take care of my wife. They think that pretty much they can give their opinion as if they were me, as if they're doing the same things that I'm doing, which they're not doing the same things, and the same thing is gonna happen to you. If somebody's gonna give you their opinion, they're not gonna give you an opinion that can help you. They're gonna pretty much try to tell you the best way that they can explain it. Like, oh, if I was in your shoes, I'm gonna do this. I would have done this, or I would have done this, or I would have done that. Which that's something that a lot of people say, and sometimes what happens when somebody gives you their opinion is that without knowing, they might be projecting their own insecurities onto you with their opinion. And I know this because I used to be like that. I used to, when I was giving my opinion, it will be literally giving them my own insecurities and projecting them onto them. And I know a lot of people that do that. My own family does that. My wife's family does that. Like I started to pay more attention in regards to when people give their opinions. And it's like, this isn't about me or about my wife. It's about how you feel in regards to you. Like, I'm gonna give you this example. I used to dress like with very big clothes, like very baggy clothes and everything. Like I can wear like 32 size pants. I used to wear like 38s. Let's just say like weight. And not because I was obese or anything like that, or because of weight issues. No, it's because I wanted to. I grew up with the cholo culture, like the gangbangers, the cholos, all of this. So I was like, you know what? I like this style. I like the look. But then you have my uncle who thinks he's, I don't want to say in this way, but that's the only way that it's going to come out. He thinks he's better than a lot of people, I guess you might say. So he will say like, you're always wearing that, you're gonna get pulled over by the cops. Yeah, and that was his opinion. And yes, I could get pulled over by the cops and everything, but that was his opinion. And then he will always criticize me, like for example when I was in school, when I was do something. But then I start realizing now that I'm an adult supposedly, that some of the criticism or his opinion, his destructive opinion, let's just put it that way, wasn't aimed more towards what I was doing. It was about how he was feeling. some of the things that he will say, like, oh, you need to go to school so you can become something better, or whatever, something like that. Let's just put that example out there. And one of the things is like, dude, you didn't go to school. Like, he didn't go to college. He wanted to become a lawyer or anything like that. He didn't go to college. He didn't go to school for it. So that was his insecurity. He was like always like in my ass about school, but he didn't do good in school. So that was his major insecurity, because I guess the way that I see it now is that he feels like he could have done more, but he can still go to school if he wants to. He just doesn't want to, because he's older now. So I guess he doesn't feel like that. And he was projecting that insecurity onto me. But now that I realize that, I'm able to move on from that. And that's another thing that probably somebody in your family is doing. If you're a spoonie, oh, believe me, I know that. If you're a spoonie and somebody is projecting their insecurity through a destructive opinion, you're gonna feel bad about it. It's gonna make you feel bad. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this because of this person. Like, one of the things that happens a lot with my wife is that a lot of people feel like she's faking it, like her pain is being fake and everything like that, or they really don't understand, and they say to my wife, it's like, you're in pain again, like, and that's gonna make you feel bad about yourself. Honestly, I understand that that's their opinion, but they don't really understand what kind of pain that is, and that should be considered a destructive opinion towards my wife, because they really don't know her situation. And probably somebody is doing the same thing to you, where somebody's like, oh, you're in pain again? You can't go out again because you're tired? It's like, yes, I'm tired. I'm in pain. So what? Like, don't try to project your insecurity, because unfortunately sometimes life has their turns and everything, and like the person that might be doing that to you, and this actually happened to a family member of my wife. Well, I guess I can say it's a family member as well, where this person, I'm not gonna say names, I'm not gonna say who he was, this person was always like, oh, you're in pain again, you're in pain again, I can't believe you're in that much pain. Well, unfortunately, that person got diagnosed with lupus and has its own health issues, where now she's starting to realize what kind of pain my wife is in. And now it's like, oh, I can't believe you can live like this, like, I feel like I'm gonna die, and things like that. And my wife is just like, and even I'm like, you thought Katie was lying? You honestly thought Katie was lying when you were giving your destructive opinion? Like, I'm on the background just like thinking, like, you thought she was lying? You honestly thought she was lying? She wasn't. She's in pain. And just so you guys understand, unfortunately, my wife, we have some bad news for my wife. She has bone spurs on her hip and tears on her lip. I mean, no, not on her lip, on her hip. She has tears on her hip, which obviously is going to be painful when you walk. So, and it looks like she has had them for a while since her last surgery. So she's in a lot of pain, and a lot of people don't believe it. But now, like in this example that I'm giving you, is like, people are not going to believe you until they actually feel it. Until they feel something similar, they're not going to believe that you might be in that much pain, because they haven't been in that much pain. So they're just gonna give you their opinion, and it could be destructive, or sometimes it can be constructive, but because they honestly don't know what it feels like, it's mostly destructive. And that's why you have to take those type of opinions with a grain of salt, because it's like, you know what, you don't know my pain, you don't know what I'm going through, you don't know exactly how it feels. So I understand that you're trying to give me your opinion, but your opinion doesn't help me in this situation, and you don't even have to say anything. That's the thing, because you can just listen to them, let them talk, so they don't feel offended, like, oh, you don't give me a time of the day to give me my opinion. Like, you can still let them talk, you can still let them express their opinion, you just don't have to take it seriously, because it's like, you don't honestly know what you're talking about. And sometimes they're not even talking about you. They're talking about things they have seen with people that have suffered something that you might be suffering, like fibromyalgia or anything like that. They see it on Facebook, all these people like talking about their pain and asking for medication. So they might be like, oh, you just want pain pills, because that's the assumption that they can come up with because of what they see. So they might not even be giving you a destructive opinion about you, but it's because of everything that they have seen around them, with doctors, if they have to go to the doctor, or what they read online, because apparently if you read something online about fibromyalgia, now you're an expert, especially the groups that they are out there, where there are certain groups, I'm not gonna say names, but there are certain groups where people, all they say is like, I want pain pills. That's why I'm like, this is not helping the cause, to be honest. This is not helping break the stigma or remove the stigma from people with chronic illnesses. So that's pretty much what they're doing, is like, they don't even know anything about it. They just talk about things that they think they know, or they think they should tell you because of the things that they have seen. So don't take that personal. Just be like, oh, okay. And sometimes if you're very close to that person and very open with that person, you can just let them know, hey, you know what, your opinion is not very nice and it makes me feel bad. So just so you know, keep it to yourself. That's something that you can say. You can say it in a very nice way. You don't have to be rude or anything like that. You just have to let them know, like, hey, you know what, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't really need your opinion if you don't really know what I'm going through. And obviously, if they're not going through the exact same thing that you're going through, they're not gonna understand. Another thing that happens in this type of situations, at least what I like to do when somebody gives me a destructive opinion, is that I like to take the positive and see the negative as a constructive opinion. Like somebody might give you an opinion, it's like, oh my gosh, I know you're in pain, I know that you're going through this, but thank you for what you're doing great. So take that in and be like, you know what, thank you, I like that. And if somebody's giving you a destructive opinion, you can just look at it from a different perspective in this situation. That's what I do when it comes to my wife, and even in my own life. The way that I do it is something like, for example, with my family, is like, oh, nobody's gonna love you, or nobody's gonna do this, or whatever they say to you. Like in my case, is like, oh, you'll never be anything if you don't go to school. Well, the person that said that, I'm not gonna say who, you might have an idea. The person that said that, unfortunately, struggling a lot while I didn't go to school, and I don't really care about school. I learned from reading books and things like that. And I'm in a better position. And I'm not saying this to brag, but this particular person, this particular family member, who was always telling me, like, if you don't go to school, you're gonna be. And pretty much what he said is that if I didn't go to school, I will end up in a homeless, literally. So now that I don't go to school or anything like that, and I work hard for what I have and everything, I'm like, see, I don't need school to have everything. I can find a different way. So I see that as a constructive opinion, because it's like, you know what? Well, I mean, I don't know if you can take it as a constructive opinion, but the way that I see it is constructive, because it kind of pushed me towards seeing a different perspective where, you know what, I don't really need school, just school. I can learn from other people. I can learn other things that can actually help me have the life that I want. It can help me take care of my wife better, like all of these things. Like, so depending on how you see things, it's pretty much what matters. And one very important thing, though, this is extremely important, and that's why I wanted to talk about it last, because you have to have a certain number of people. It can be only one person, 2 people, 3 people, or however many people that you care about, and that you know that they care about you, and that people will be literally on your circle, where when you need an opinion, you can count on them to give you the best opinion to help you get better, to like, they do it in your best interest. That's pretty much, like, they're not giving you a destructive opinion, they're giving you a constructive opinion out of love, you know. And I'll give you this example. My wife, nobody has ever given me that kind of opinions in regards to myself until I met my wife. Or maybe they did, but I never pay attention, or the way that it was coming out, it was more like destructive instead of constructive. And when I met my wife, like I said, I used to wear baggy pants, and I used to do all these crazy things, you know, like, I didn't really care about anybody's opinion, and until I met my wife. And she once said, like, we went to buy clothes for me, and I went in like my regular size, 36, and she goes, why don't you try the smaller ones to see how they fit on you? Because I can guarantee you that you will look good on those pants. And I was like, really? You think so? And the way that my wife talks to anybody is like she talks to you in a way that makes you feel good about yourself, you know? So I tried the pants of my regular size, and they fit fine. I did look good. I do look good on them. And my wife has been able to change a lot of things about me. Just literally talking to me like that is like, I like, and this is gonna sound funny, but I'm not ashamed or anything like that. Like, when I start getting dressed to go to work or anything like that, she looks at me and she goes like, well, you really want to dress like that? And I'm like, yeah. And she just goes, well, it doesn't really match. It doesn't match. It doesn't look like you should look. So I'm like, gosh, I have to change. But that's the way that she do it. And sometimes your partner might be doing it that way, and you might not see it as constructive. But if you know that the person that's giving you that kind of opinion is doing it for your best interest, literally out of love, then take it and let them help you. You know, like, that's pretty much what I did with my wife. That's what she is doing with me. She's letting me help her and things like that. So I that's why I wanted to talk about that. You have to have a specific number of people. It could be only one. In my case, it's only one. You have to have as many people, or just one person that you know is going to give you the opinion that you need to help you get to the next level that you want to get. Like, it's going to be constructive and not destructive opinion. That's pretty much what you need. That's what I have with my wife. And anybody else's opinion, just take it with a grain of salt, because, like I said, they don't know what you're going through. They don't know your level of pain. They don't know your stress. They might not even be able to take like even like 1% of stress that about what you, or of what you're going through, you know. So just take that with a grain of salt. Don't let them ruin your day by them giving you your opinion. Just be like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm just gonna listen to you, but I'm gonna move on, you know. And another thing is, like, don't bring those type of opinions with you to your house, you know. Leave them outside the house, because that can make you stress. And if your partner or your kids say something, you might snap. I know it, because it has happened to me. So I'm just letting you know. And pretty much that's what I wanted to talk about today on today's episode. Thank you again for listening. Thank you for the new supporters, the new followers. Thank you for your emails, your feedback. I really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe so we can actually make this grow. Don't forget to share, like, and that way we can keep growing. And if you like the podcast, don't forget to leave a review. That way we can actually grow even more, because that's how the podcast works. We want it to grow, because, like I said, this is a community. We need reviews so the system or the algorithm can put the podcast out there. And I know it's getting better. I've been receiving your feedback, and I really, really appreciate it. But other than that, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And also, I leave you like always. Oh, and before I forget, if you want to share your story, you can post it on Facebook, on the community. And also, if you want to share it anonymously, don't forget to send it to me at thecaregiverandspoony@gmail.com. And I'll leave you like always. As always, take care of yourself and have a good day.